Hi guys, and welcome back to our coverage of World Championship Weekend 2015 for Star Wars the card game. We're there, we're in the finals. We have on the left, playing as Sith, hailing from Texas, standing at 6'10", probably. David Tietze. Hi David, how are you?
I'm doing great, Andy. How are you doing?
Good to have you, and brilliant to have your input on the commentary for these final matches. And on the right, he'll be playing as Jedi, hailing from Rhode Island, standing at 5'8", probably. The man with the beard, Tom Melucci. How are you, Tom?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm great. So as you guys might have guessed, I'm going to step back on this commentary, because what better way to end the run-through 2015. Both players, David and Tom, are going to give you their thoughts from the final matches. And, you're in for a treat. So sit back and relax. Take it away, gents.
All right, so we're going right into this game. My objectives, I have May the Force be with you, The Survivors, and A Hero's Beginning. I like that flop.
Yeah, that looks like it's pretty good for you there, Tom. My opening flop is Council of Sith, Plan of the Prophetess, and Brothers of the Sith. So you guys have obviously watched Andy's videos before. Have seen me play against Leopold with this deck. And actually, Tom and I played each other earlier, and Tom actually beat me with his light side the first time. So I'm kind of climbing an uphill battle here.
I'm going into this game in a very confident position, I think.
Yes, he is.
I played against this earlier, so.
So luckily, I got a Dark Temple off the bat, which is obviously my best resource that I want to see. I got a Telepathic Connections, which lets Gork swing in and draw somebody into an engagement when he's attacking, and also gives pick targeted strike. So it's a great enhancement to have out. And my first unit happens to be Gork, so I've got to be putting Tom on tilt a little bit there.
You're happy obviously, with that turn, right? Happy.
What was that?
So you're happy with that opening.
Oh yeah, I'm extremely happy with that opening.
Yeah. So Eric destroys your board.
Yeah.
So I'm coming into this game from the winner's bracket, right? So I'm undefeated at this point, and I've played against this deck already. So this is the game I want to win, right? Because if I lose this game, I have to go into play your light side, which I didn't get to see previously.
And you want no part of that core Obi-Wan light side deck, do you, Tom?
Yeah, I know. You had some jank going on. I don't even understand. But yeah, I play Yoda You Seek Yoda, which is, standard opening for Jedi. And I think I have a Seeds in my hand, so I'm pretty happy with the 1 unit start.
Which is exactly how what you started with the first time we played, but unfortunately I had Saris. So you were able to just kind of wipe her out and take out my entire first turn the first time we played.
Yep. And I see I didn't discard a card here, which I've watched this video obviously since Worlds, and I always question myself on why I did not discard a card right then, because I had 2 resources. It was very clear what I was going to play. It was just going to be the Sulon. So I should have discarded that Twi'lek that's in my hand, and I actually discarded next turn, which is hilarious. Spoiler. But no, this is an extremely standard start for my deck. Like Yoda You Seek Yoda, Sulon. If you have 1 unit, or if you have 2 units and I have a Seeds, like I'll Seeds 1 and focus the other, and then get 2 free damage off with the Sulon. This is what I want to see. Yeah. So looks like Yoda's attacking, going at Council, which is I don't know if that's the right choice, to be honest, but I always want to get damage down on Council as fast as possible.
Well, you got Survivors out. It makes good sense. And for me, I'm trying to put damage on Yoda. I'm not going to want to see him long term, especially as the dial starts ticking up. 5, 6, 7. He starts being able to wipe out a whole bunch of big units and that kind of thing. So,
yeah, I think you need to defend in this case.
Yeah. So there's the Seeds. I've got 4 with the other Telepathic Connections and Saris in hand. So I win the edge battle, but you really don't care.
The Seeds does the work that it's supposed to do. Getting a couple damage down. Gork has 5 health, right? So that takes a bit to take him down. Remembering to resolve my tactics, even though Gork is elite, so it doesn't really matter.
It's important just to remember to keep those going. If you
Yeah.
If you obviously can remember all of your triggers and all of your icons, that's a good thing.
So I send the Sulan in at Brother of the Sith, apparently, and I take the Force.
You sure do. So Dial's going to click up to 3 on my turn. And luckily, since I took it last turn, I got that Dark Temple back up, and I've got monsters amounts of resources to go in with here.
Yep, 6 resources. Lots of resources. But with the Dial at 3 now, Yoda can one-shot Gork at this point. So, I'm feeling good about that. And I have a bunch of edge cards under that Hero's Beginning, so...
Yeah, you only placed 1 card in that edge stack with that Seeds, and so that was actually pretty big.
Yeah, which is why I love that. Seeds is amazing, right? It's just...
Right.
Especially first turn. I feel like the value of Seeds goes down over the game, but like that first turn, it can usually do some good work.
Absolutely.
And we got Palpatine.
Using all of those 6 resources,
That beautiful alt art.
Oh yeah. You gotta love it. It's not the wheelchair Palpatine. We got Palpatine actually sitting on his throne there, which is much better. I'll tell a lot of new players in our meta, when they play Sith, it's a very come at me bro kind of deck, right? You don't want to put yourself in a situation where they could end the game in a single turn. So I think the right play here is to commit Palp, take the Force back. Having 5 cards in hand, about to be 6 when I trigger Council here. Yep. And let you swing at me,
And taking the Force is so key when you have Dark Temple in play. If you were to swing with Palp, or it wouldn't make sense for you to attack in that case. It just doesn't.
No.
But there it is. I did discard the Twi'lek, which is... I question that every time I watch this, and why I didn't do that the first time. But
mistakes were made, Tom.
Stupid Twi'lek. But no, I mean, right now you have a great board state. That Dark Temple is going to keep you being able to play pretty much anything you draw. I have 5 or 6 if you use the Sulan, although I prefer using that for Blast. Mm-hmm. Oh, I think I just saw Luke in my hand. Oh, I do have Luke. And I have lightsaber.
We also saw this lightsaber a little bit earlier, I think. So, obviously I'm kind of with you. I kind of like holding it in hand because it's a 2-pip card, which it could be worse, right? So I kind of like throwing it in edge battle and then throwing it out of the discard to use its reaction.
So I tend to do the same thing. I played a game in round 3 against Tyler, and he did that. He saved lightsaber for the edge battle, and I ended up playing threat removal on him to bounce Luke to his hand. Should have just played the lightsaber. Would have been safer. But all right, so Luke's going in at Plan of the Prophetess. I think this was, targeting that objective was purely based on. If you decide not to block, I'm going to blow it up, right? Because I'll have the lightsaber. And but you block and you
kill the edge.
Okay, yeah. So I remember this basically. Like I felt pretty good with 3 and a support in fire. I have a Ron in hand, so I can go up to 6. So I felt like 6 versus 2 cards was pretty good. But this doesn't hurt that bad, right? Like you're going to tactics down my board. I'm going to lose a turn of attacking. You have to double focus Luke, otherwise you just bring that lightsaber in.
100% right.
Yeah, so
and then take Yoda out. So I'm looking to kind of at the Force, with Plan of the Prophetess out. If you commit Luke at this point, Gork is going to tie him. So I would still maintain the Force. You would have to commit the Sulan Sympathizer as well.
That doesn't even help because the Sulan.
Oh, that's right. So he'd lose 1 as well. So I mean, basically, I would keep the Force. So
I bring the lightsaber in. I think I'm sitting here deciding who I want to deal the damage to. It has to be Palp, but
yeah.
I was kind of in that position where it's like you just discarded the second Gork.
Yep.
So I want to get that guy off the board, right? Like that's why I'm thinking about this so much.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to be Palp.
It has to be Palp, yeah. No, you don't want that guy coming back at you, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so like right now, I remember what you had just brought up, right? So if I commit Luke, I don't take the Force. I just I tie it. And the Sulan doesn't help because of the plan. So I believe I end up attacking here with the Sulan to kind of either force you to give me 2 objective damage which I'm happy with, or you focus out Gork and then I can take the Force, which I'm kind of happy with. I don't really want to commit Luke,
Right.
but I don't usually. Like, I usually don't worry about that. My deck has a lot of different ways of pumping out damage, so if I have to commit Luke, I will.
Well, and that's actually the reason why I blocked with Gork, because I'd rather have Luke committed to the Force than not. So if you end up using him, you're not going to be able to. You lose your double strike ability with him, at least offensively. So that was kind of my thought process.
So the other thing is I used a card from Under a Hero's Beginning, and I believe that was the protection. So I used a protection and a heat, which means I get a little bit more damage on Gork. And I believe I put the protection on Yoda here. I'm kind of in a position where I don't want you to be able to swing back into me with Palp and just drop like 3 focus on Yoda and keep him out for a while, which I think is the main reason I did that. I could have shielded the Sulan to keep him alive. Gork has 2 guns, right? 2 guns, 2 blast?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I end up committing Luke, take the Force. Dial goes to 4.
Right.
I don't know. That's questionable, right? Like, I could have just given you an extra click on the dial. I could have kept my Sulan alive, and I could have kept Luke uncommitted. So that might have been a mistake in hindsight. Like, it's tough. BTS Luke and committing him to the Force is always a hard decision.
Right.
Now, if I had just put that protection in the first edge battle, that would have been a much different thing, right? Because if I had protected Yoda at that point, you wouldn't have been able to lock him out, which means I wouldn't have had to attack with the Sulan. Or if I had put it on Luke, you would have had to use all 3 focus on Luke to get him from striking. So
right. And here's an interesting play. You know, I ended up playing a Kawhi security team, and I remember this turn I actually just drew garbage. But, you know, as we've talked about before, you know, if I had left Brothers of the Sith open, I could have used it here to try and fish for some Sith spawn cards, you know.
And I think you do what I do, where when you spend your resources, you spend the resources of damaged objectives first, right? Because and that's why you immediately use that resource first. I do the same thing. Most of the time, objectives don't have that focus this to do something ability. So, yeah, I mean, if you end your turn right here with 3 open resources, you're going to take the Force back, so it's going to be 5 when that Dark Temple refreshes.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely could have. Oh, that was weird. You pointed to Council. I thought you were pointing to Brothers.
Just trying to remember all my triggers there, Tom. That's all I was trying to do.
Got to do all the triggers, man. You're not missing any triggers. This is the finals.
That's right. You gotta.
Oh, I just picked up a Force Rejuve. Yep. I love that card.
I'm not as big a fan now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, this is clearly going the right direction, you know, for you. You've got the ability to strike twice with Luke again, you know, which is huge. So
the board is pretty even right now. Like, Palpatine can still lock down both of these mains, and Luke being committed really turns off his whole double strike thing, right? And the standard ways of like removing that commitment, like an Echoes, I don't have any of that in my deck, right? I'm not running Kyle. So I see a Neiman training in hand, so I have an attachment. I'm almost definitely going to play that just to get the free damage.
Right.
Get another Sulan, so that's fine.
Is that why you ended up pitching that Sheehan training? It seems like the Sheehan training would be a good one to play.
I think at the opening of the turn, I had 5 resources, and I have Ron in hand, so I figured if I played Ron, I wasn't going to also be able to play the Sheehan, which is why I discarded it, because it's only 1 pip. But then I ended up drawing a Sulan and a Mystic and a Force Rejuve, so playing the Sulan and then using the Sulan to play the Mystic still gives me 2 left for the Force Rejuve, which I think is why I played it out that way.
I got you.
Yeah. But yeah, Sheehan's a great card. I hate discarding it, but like, Oh yeah, this
there's Luke not being able to do anything during this combat turn.
the start of Luke's long nap, we'll call it.
Yes. So that Force Rejuve is going to sit in your hand just a little bit longer.
I mean, other things can be rejuved, like Yoda.
Yes, they can. Like Yoda.
Like Yoda. But I played the Neiman Trainer, and I got that extra damage on Palpatine now, so he's one within dying, which is a good thing for me. And I have a rejuve in hand, so I definitely swing here. Because even if you lock... I remember making this decision, too. Like, I used the resource on the Sulan instead of leaving the affiliation in the Sulan up for the rejuve, because if you block with Palp and you decide to lock down the Sulan, now I can't rejuve, right? So, like, I'm kind of... By doing it the way I did it, I'm definitely signaling more like, hey, I have a rejuve. I have 2 resources open. But I think it was the safer way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I swing with Yoda here, and you block with Gork and the security team. And this is a decision that I kind of question slightly. Like, to me, Palpatine's like the ultimate blocker, right? And he has 1 health left. So why don't you block with Palpatine at this point?
That's a pretty good question. I think the idea was I could kill Yoda because I had a heat and a choke in hand.
Yep.
And so I was like, well, it may as well just kill Yoda outright, right? And just try and take things from there. Of course,
but
hindsight being 2020 with your Force Rejuve, I wish I had.
But even if you can kill Yoda, right? If you put Palp into that fight, you can focus down Luke and the Mystic, and now I can't get any more damage down, right?
Well, you also have a heat in your deck, right? Like, so, I mean, with Luke. So
I do. I've already used one of them. You've seen the first one hit Gork. So, yes, he could have just got... I could have just used a heat. Well, there you go. There's your heat. And I only put 1 in. So, I think that's another very usual, like an obvious thing that I do where if I have a rejuve, I'm like, okay, I'm attacking with Yoda. I'm not going to win this edge. I'll just let you hit me a little bit, and then I'll rejuve. But... So yeah, you win the edge. You strike with Gork first, and I remember this, and I felt bad about how it worked out. But like as soon as you struck with Gork, you said, "And I have an action," and I was like, "I'm the first player. I have an action for."
Yes.
So right there, Force Rejuve saves Yoda, which is huge. I think I ask you if you still have an action and you're thinking about it, using that Force choke. I believe you end up doing. Yeah.
And I think the right thing actually would have been probably to try and choke Luke, because he's going to be a bigger threat to me long term than Yoda with 1 blast. So
the other side of that is that if you had force choked Yoda before striking with Gork, then if I have the rejuve, I have to make the decision to do it at that point to remove 1 damage. So that could have very, very slight change in the order that you did that could have helped you a little bit. But I killed the Kawadi, and the reason I did that, honestly, is because I just didn't want Yoda to have 2 damage on him. It would be nice to have Gork off the board, but, I wanted him dead. And I end up focusing out Palpatine, because if I do that, I can get 2 free damage with the Mystic, and I keep the Force with Luke. If I don't focus out Palpatine, I don't get either of those things. Right. Although it would have been nice to have Gork locked out, but...
Well, I thought it would have been nice to have killed Yoda. We always don't get what we want, right?
True. There are always 2 sides to this game, and Force Rejuve, huge play right there. Like that was that saved Yoda. Yoda would be very dead right now, and that would be a huge difference on this game, right? Because Palp wouldn't have got locked out. I wouldn't have been able to... Dial just clicked up to 5. I wouldn't have been able to take the Force. I wouldn't have been able to go in there with that Mystic. I mean, I guess I could have still tried, because if I win the edge, I kill Palp before he does anything. But you get more resources, and you think about using brothers.
Nope.
You don't.
Well played, David. Well played. I'm glad you finally figured it out. Now we're going to use it. We're going to figure out if I can get pick involved before my second Gork is completely wasted here. So.
And now Pick's whole thing is that he like jumps in and out of combat, right? So,
Right.
he would have been pretty huge at some point, right?
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah.
I specifically remember this from the Team Covenant video. For some reason, you were shuffling on the side of the table. I don't even know. Like, I knew you before this event, so like I didn't care. I didn't think anything of it. But why are you shuffling on the side of the table?
Well, I just wanted to make sure Eric saw my shuffle and that it was completely legitimate.
Eric's just watching you right now. He's just
he is. He was watching me like a hawk, man.
Oh, that's good. He tried to destroy your board state earlier, so yeah.
I don't know what it is. Maybe Eric just has it out for me.
Oh, we got Vader.
Yep.
Also, beautiful old art.
Yes. I think we were given those cards the day before.
Can we talk about all the swag that's on this table right now, by the way? Look at all these tokens and best Sith player card.
I know. It's just so legitimately awesome. The dial, from Nationals.
I love that dial.
Got the 2013 regional token there. It's pretty sweet.
I love the swag in these games. We got the flip the force commitment cards.
That's right.
On both sides, bringing them. All right.
So now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do here, and I know Palp's dead at this point, right? I mean, Luke is one focus token away from ejecting his lightsaber and then reattaching it the next turn, and just Palp's dead before anything happens. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, okay, I've got to swing in here. I have to try and win an edge battle and try and make sure Yoda and the Sulon are going to be kind of locked out. This is kind of my thought process.
I think that's right. I mean, it's tough to not have any tactics on defense, but you have to use them at that point. There's not only Luke getting one focus token does it, but like I have a lot of attachments in this deck, right? Like, there are other attachments that I'm sure I will draw, if you don't do this. So I think I'm sitting here trying to decide who I block with, and I make the decision to block with the Mystic, which in hindsight is a mistake. We'll talk about that in a minute, but like,
right.
I think I should have blocked with Luke at this point, but Luke had the ability to kill Gork, which is why I left him back in case you decide to get real aggressive and attack with Gork as well. But we go all in here, and you had a very bad edge hand. Yes, you had terrible. Yeah, you had 2 pips, and I threw my Kuron, who's been in my hand for like 4 turns. But
yep, and Palp dies earlier than I wanted to.
Yeah. But you have one more card. It's near the top of the table right now, and
that's right.
That's a force choke, right?
It is a force choke, and the appropriate play there is to have choked the Mystic and then use his beta reaction to kill him, because the survivors actually only does unique Jedi units, character units, but I thought it was just all Jedi, so that was kind of my mistake, and I thought about that when the play had happened, but it was just my mistake in understanding the card. So if you're a new player, read the cards. Even if you're at the final table at Worlds, they might keep you from doing something stupid.
Hey, first turn in this game, I read Telepathic Connections. Like I haven't played enough Gork and picked. But definitely don't be embarrassed to read cards. Like, it is what it is. You have to know what these cards do if you want to be competitive. But yeah, I mean that's the counter of the mistake that I made, right? Like, so I could have predicted, like, hey, if he has the force choke, blocking with this Mystic is not enough, because then you just kill him.
Right.
And technically, if you had the force choke, you just kill him before the edge battle, right? Like, because then it's unopposed. Then you just
and it's kind of a big deal, right? Because the Mystic is just going to soak up, tactic cyclones all the time. And in a Sith control deck, I kind of rely on that long term. So if I had a way to be able to get him off the table early, that's definitely the play that should have been made.
Yeah. You think that's a big swinging moment in this game?
I think it was a pretty big mistake. And it's certainly one I will never forget again. That's
Yeah.
That's all you can hope to do is learn from what whenever you do that stuff. So.
And here I play I Am a Jedi, which I hate that card. But when Luke already has 2 attachments, it's a good card.
Yeah, 2 for 3. I'll take that any day of the week.
2 for 3, and I ping another damage down on Gork. So now he's within 1 health, and I'm pretty sure I have the other heat in my hand, and I top deck the other Kuron. So
yep,
that's good for me, I guess.
That seems pretty decent.
Oh, and then a speeder bike.
And then a speeder bike, right?
The dumbest unit.
Yeah.
So good.
And I'm just sitting there looking at this. I'm like, huh. Well, crap.
Oh, crap. So yeah, I remember this turn and how I declare these attacks seems kind of strange. Like, generally you would go with the speeder bike first, right? I have to stop. I have to slow down, give you an action window. Oh, Luke goes back to sleep. That's good.
Yep.
Luke's still not participating in combat.
He just wants to attack so bad, doesn't he, Tom?
So bad. I think that's what I say right now. I'm just sitting there going, Luke, you want to attack so bad.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. That was it. So I swing in with Yoda first because the dial's at 5 at this point, so Yoda can one-shot either of those characters, right?
Correct.
But what I'm thinking is you let this attack actually go.
Right.
And I focus down Vader.
Yeah, with Raw on the board, why would I try and throw guns into Ron, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, I was like, you know, I'm going to take my medicine with Yoda. You know, the speeder bike, he can't protect vehicles, so I'd be able to try and kill it. But you got a Sulon hanging out there, so you know, I kind of have to think about, well, what do I want to do?
Well, and this was essentially the plan, right? Because I lock down Vader, and then I put you into a position where you're gonna block the speeder bike, and then I'm gonna heat Gork to get the unopposed.
Right.
And then have that last objective pretty open. So this was a big turn for me. Kuron's huge. Killing Gork here is going to be huge. Taking down an objective and leaving the other ones with very little health. But yeah, so this turn, going back to the Mystic play, not only would I not have the Mystic, which the Mystic's not helping me this turn anyway, but Yoda and that Sulon would have been locked down. So if Luke gets force stasis, I don't really have the ability to do much of anything, right? Like I swing with the speeder bike first probably, and do significantly less damage that turn. So I think you force choke Kuron. I react with survivors, and then you place the damage on Kuron.
Right.
Which we've talked about that. Like it might have been better for you to place that on the speeder bike, but really you just need Kuron to have less
ability to throw damage back. Yeah, that was kind of my thought. But
this is an overwhelming board right now, right? Like you have a lockdown Vader.
You've only had enough resources to be able to play stuff.
Well, no, you have all the resources.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. And I get web, which is even better. So if there's a chance, you know, we need good times here. If we need big units, we need events.
You've seen a couple of your force chokes. You haven't seen either of your force lightnings. So I'm kind of thinking some of that's coming in, and most of my stuff is committed right now. I mean, is focused. So
that's probably just what you're looking for right now. It's like, do you throw a lightning and edge, or
probably.
What am I dealing with here?
Probably. I'm like, what can he draw?
Actually, even a deadly sight would be fantastic here. So
get rid of the speeder bike, right? Yeah, it's
or the Mystic, either one, you know. Or playing Pal. He seems good.
Another Palpatine. Well, Palpatine makes a return. So, I mean, technically, at this point, I don't know what else is in your hand, but if you had kept Palpatine alive and locked down my board, you wouldn't have been able to... No, I would have still killed Palpatine with the with the I'm a Jedi reaction.
Jedi, right?
Yeah, so
Gorg just still have two more health. So.
Yep. So you have 2 resources left, which is enough for a lightning because of the web. If you have it, I'm assuming you're thinking about who to actually lightning.
Right.
There
it is. Yeah. And I make a mistake and I go after Yoda. The right play here is actually to go after Q-Ron to get him off the board, I think, and then react to the speeder bike. I try and react to Q-Ron there, which obviously with survivors you're going to be able to protect it. But I think the right play would have been to do that.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those things though. Sometimes, you react to Kuran because people forget things, right? So like sometimes people forget survivors, and they just place that damage down and move on, and then realize later, oh, I forgot my survivors. You know, so it's obviously more of a risk to do that, but. I discard a Neiman training, which means I'm triggering. I might not trigger Luke's reaction this turn, but I remember this hand. I picked up Unfinished Business, Force Rejuve, and Red 5.
Yeah, and with Yoda in the discard and the Force Rejuve, you don't even need Win Edge here to finish the game out. So.
Yeah. I remember how I declare it, but we'll let the game. I think I sit here and think about this for far longer than I need to, but essentially what I'm considering, I know I'm going to play Red 5, right? And Red 5 can take out the web by himself. So I'm trying to decide, you have 2 resources open, that means you still have access to another Force Lightning. Which by the way, what's the earliest action window in a turn? Is it
refresh? End of refresh.
End of refresh. So I was thinking about that when I rewatched this one of the last times, is that after you won the Force, you remove that token. If at the beginning of my turn there was an action window before.
Nope, I can only do it at the end of refresh. So you would have refreshed all your cards, and I'd have to wait to see what you did in terms of playing.
Yeah.
So
but if you have a Force Lightning here, like you could Force Lightning Red 5 before he gets the unopposed.
Right.
But I still, those all 3 objectives are basically with Red 5. All 3 objectives are within killing range, in the same turn. So I think what I'm really thinking about here is not what I'm going to play. I know I'm going to play Red 5. I'm thinking about how am I going to declare the challenges. I've been playing too much Thrones. How am I going to declare the engagements? And or
you could have just thrown Red 5 in an edge battle, and then just use the Unfinished Business to finish out web, so it would never get locked down, which would be another play that you could have done. So.
True. It is Red 5 coming in. Yeah, so and with the rejuve, it really kind of seals the whole thing, right? Because so here's my first engagement. I go Speeder Bike and Luke against Council, basically thinking even if I lose Edge right here, I have 1 Black Blast. I lose Edge, the Speeder Bike dies. Who cares? You have to focus down Luke at least twice, because if you don't, Palp dies and the objective dies.
Right.
If you focus him down only once, I don't even have to use the Mystic. I can just discard an attachment to make that happen. And then to stop Red 5, you have to put 2 focus on him because of the Outer Rim Mystic. And then that last objective can be taken out by the Sulan or by Ron. So, like, I don't know that there are any outs here for you. Like,
no, there aren't.
What's on the board.
You had about 3 or 4 different ways to win this. And you obviously, have taken a decent route. I mean, if you swing the Speeder Bike and Luke, either I block or I don't. If I don't block, game's over anyway, right?
Yep.
So yeah, I have to block.
That's why you throw the Speeder Bike in that conflict.
Right.
think I put a card in as just like a whatever. I don't know.
And you're just thinking about all the glory right now. You're just like,
I'm definitely thinking about that Vader playmat. Like, I'm just like that mat is amazing. So.
And you're right, pass. I don't really care. 2.
3.
Two
That's your
nudge.
third. I think you were just here's a nudge.
Yeah.
You got 5.
Yeah.
Win. Speeder bike dies. So now in this position, right? I remember what you did. You put 2 on Luke and 1 on the red 5.
Right. And you suck up the one with red 5 to the Mystic.
It doesn't matter. Like, I don't think it matters. Like, even if you do like 1 on Kuran, 1 on Sulan, 1 on red 5, I still keep red 5 open. I still have the rejuve. There's too many options here.
And then you still have 3 guns to kill Pal.
And I remember I paid with the Sulan here because I still wanted to keep that 1 Jedi resource open for unfinished business in case I needed it. I don't know what I thought I would need it for.
But I've got an action here, like when you swing in. And this is significant, why I played this. I had to kill Luke, right? Because Luke gets lightninged.
I remember
he dies while Vader watches on, which may be the most thematic ending ever to a Star Wars tournament.
What I should have done was, before I shook your hand, I should have said, I unfinished business Luke, and then end the game. Because that's the 1 card in my hand is unfinished business.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, that was, very little mistakes in that game. I think the force choke on the Mystic was definitely the biggest thing.
I don't know. I think lightning Ron and then reacting to the speeder bike might have helped out a little bit there too. Because if I had done the choke and reacted to the speeder bike the previous turn, then the speeder bike's off the table. It's just dead, right? Instead of trying to choke and react to Ron the way that I did. Yep. So, but we don't know what cards we're going to get. Obviously, you play the best you can, and I'll tell you, I didn't mind losing it all to a guy like you, Tom. You're a very classy winner, which is all you can really hope for.
Thank you. It was a good game. I enjoyed playing. Both of our games were very, very fun. It was a great event. I had a great time.
And props to you, David, as well, especially for getting to the finals. This is, as you mentioned in one of the previous videos, this was one of your first tournaments ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad the fates aligned, and you did manage to get the ticket to Worlds and make your way to the final table. And congratulations to Tom with your beautiful, sexy playmat. We'll put a picture up so you can see Tom looking smug. And I know the exact photo I'll use. I think Zach is looking unhappy. Yeah, we'll use that picture. It looks brilliant. But great ending to an amazing weekend, an amazing 2015 World Championship weekend. Couldn't think of 2 better people to have in the final. So congratulations to you both. And thanks guys for coming on for the commentary. It is always a pleasure to kind of have a sneak peek into the minds of the world's best players. And you two are definitely, 1 and 2 in my heart, for sure. So.
Well, thank you so much for having us on, Andy. We really appreciate it.
Pleasure, and thanks again. Cheers.